Hello, welcome to another episode of Brian's Table Talks. Hal's here recording. I feel like we should say this is Hal's recording of Brian's Table Talks. He actually does all the work, and we want to give him a shout out every time we can because he does a great job. So today I want to talk about something, go a little different. My son, Ryan, sent me a TED Talk, and he asked me if I'd preach on it. Now, it's a great TED Talk. I've posted it on my Facebook page if you want to go look at it. It didn't really fall in line with where I'm preaching today, but I want to talk about it today because I think it's a great topic. The gentleman on there talks about silence. Now, when I was a young kid, I got in quite a bit of trouble with my mom. I had a tendency to argue. And looking back, I would have been much smarter if when she was yelling at me or fussing at me or whatever, disciplining me, whatever you want to call it, if I would have just been silent. It would have been so much easier. As they say in cop movies, I had the right to remain silent. I just didn't have the ability. And we talk about that, and Scripture's filled with opportunities to be silent. Be still and know that I am God. But there are times when our silence is too loud. I want to say two things. First one, Scripture in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 7 says, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. And then a gentleman by the name of Elie Wiesel, a survivor of a concentration camp, once wrote, we must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Now, my son sent me this TED Talk about a gentleman who realized he's got to use his voice. And it got me to think about something that happened this past week. I got into a discussion on Facebook, which I generally avoid. And the person I was talking back with, she's a wonderful person, real loving person. I know her from a community. And she said, sometimes it's not worth arguing. And I've been thinking about that. And there are so many times in our lives where it is so much easier to be silent. When we see somebody being oppressed, it's easier just to turn away. When we see a person on the street corner, it's easier to look away. When we see wrongs being done, it's easier not to get involved. It's always easier. And yet, when we keep our silence, they win. Now, my family knows that I like a good debate. I do. It's not that I like to argue, but I like the intellectual challenge. And when somebody tells me something that I know scientifically, historically is incorrect, I just don't really have the ability to let it pass. Because when I do, that becomes the norm. There are people in this world who say the Holocaust did not happen, contrary to all the evidence. There are people, a great many, who say climate change is a hoax. And when we stay silent, they win, and the results are a catastrophe. When we lose sight that the Holocaust did indeed happen, 6 million Jews, 13 million people, that opens the door for it to happen again. When we turn away from our environment, that opens the door for it to continue to be ravaged. World War II was one of the contributing factors. There were many, but one of them was complacency. Neville Chamberlain and I have achieved peace in our time by giving in to Adolf Hitler. I don't invite people to argue. When we argue, nobody listens. You just start yelling and nobody hears anything. But I do invite a debate. And I do invite people to speak out about injustice, to speak out about wrongs, and to engage in it. We cannot, as a society, as a people, as humanity, remain silent while people are oppressed, while lies are told. Now, my friends, some might say that some of my opinions are lies, in which case I'm willing to engage the debate. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. But we cannot remain silent. I can be silent here in the sanctuary and hear God's voice. But within society, we must use our voice. Not just to help ourselves, but help those people who don't have a voice. People who are in prison, people who are neglected, people who are abandoned, people who are poor. We have a voice to use. God gave it to us. We should use it for the right reasons. My friends, silence is a wonderful thing, and I invite you to find a place to be silent, to be still and know that God is God. But when you're not there, use your voice and be the voice of God to somebody else. Friends, I hope today is a great day. I hope tomorrow's a better day. I hope you find peace and joy in every moment and a story to tell and an opportunity to share it. Until next time, it's been Brian's Table Talks. Have a blessed and peaceful day.